Hello and welcome to the Unity Satsang Podcast. Namaste. The general format for these podcasts is we'll begin with a moment of silence, however long that may be. Feel free to pause this video and come back when you're ready. And then we'll open some texts here and begin with some scriptural reading from wisdom traditions, predominantly from the teachings of yoga, and we'll begin to make connections and kind of give commentary as needed. So wherever you are, feel free to pause this video or just take a few moments here with me, slowing down, maybe closing the eyes and just taking a few breaths. We'll begin with a reading. Opening the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Divination style reading, so opening to a page and trusting that that page that we open is exactly what we need to hear at any given moment. The dedication of the fruits of one's work to God is a spiritual exercise of vital importance, especially to those who are compelled by their duties to lead very active lives. It is known as karma yoga, the way to union with God through the performance of God-dedicated action. In following karma yoga, the devotee's whole life becomes one unending ritual, since every action is performed as an offering of devotion to God, not in the hope of one's personal gain or advantage. Needless to say, the actions are done in the spirit. They must be right actions. We must never offer to God an action which seems to us at that particular moment and stage of our development to be wrong. I'll read that again. We must never offer to God an action which seems to us at that particular moment and that stage of our development to be wrong. And we must work always to do the very best of our abilities. We dare not offer our second best. Denoting karma yoga. For those who are interested or compelled to lead very active lives, karma yoga, this gives us an opportunity to be in the world and not of the world. And what that means is to live our lives in a way that is connected with the divine, that is spiritually whole, and also giving us the ability to go about performing actions because in our hearts those actions are dedicated to that spiritual wholeness. Whenever we think of maybe meditation and yoga and devotees, if you will, devotees being yogis, people who have dedicated their lives, some people may have this image of a monk just sitting in neutrality. And while that is the case, for some, there's an option in practicing karma yoga to be out in the world leading an active lifestyle and giving ultimately all of one's actions to God. It could look any variety of ways, as long as, I love that clause that it puts in there, clause being that we don't offer our second best, and at any given stage of our development, we must do what we feel is right. And that gives us grace because it may be subject to change. Maybe at one stage in our development, an action feels to be whole and righteous in our heart of hearts. And then at another stage, we realize that there is a perhaps cleaner way to perform an action to yield the same result of being connected fully with the ultimate, and the ultimate being the divine. So that description of karma yoga is beautiful and exquisite. It is a commentary by Swami Prabhavananda. So that coming out of the sutras, even though it's not directly a sutra, that is a beautiful commentary to denote karma yoga. And our text here that we also have is the Bhagavad Gita, which is in a big way dedicated in its entirety to the practice of karma yoga, as Arjuna, the main subject, is a warrior caste, or of the warrior class. And that means, based on his circumstances, that he is called to act. That is his duty. So I will open that now, appropriately so. They that are versed in the triple Veda, worshipping me with the rites appointed, drinking the wine of God's communion, cleansed from their sinning, those men pray for passage to heaven, thus attaining the realm of Indra, home of the happy. There they delight in celestial pleasures, pleasures more spacious than any earthly. They taste a while, till the merit that won them is all exhausted. Then they return to the world of mortals. Thus go the righteous who follow the road of the triple Veda in formal observance, hungry still for the food of the senses, drawn by desire to endless returning. This passage has an attractive quality. It's this elevated state, or this astral realm that can be full of celestial pleasures, heavenly beauty, and we have the opportunity to enter this space with the rites or rituals rightly performed, studying of the triple Veda or studying of the scripture, essentially checking all the boxes, doing all the right things in order to get us to heaven. And it's a beautiful place that we can only stay for a little while. It leaves us hanging on that there must be maybe something missing. Something is not quite satisfied or not quite fulfilled in our soul. It's still longing for something more. Although heaven is beautiful and we can taste for a while, we will ultimately come back to endless returning. And so it kind of leaves us that seems like a cliffhanger as we read, because it's like, well, if that's one way to go, then what is the follow through? What is the ultimate? What is the completed task? What does that look like? And I believe it comes up right here in the next passage. But if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss. Even those who worship other deities and sacrifice to them with the faith in their hearts, they are really worshiping me through a mistaken approach, for I am the only enjoyer and the only God of all sacrifices. Nevertheless, such men must return to a life on earth because they do not recognize me in my true nature. Those who sacrifice to various deities will go to those deities. The ancestor worshippers will go to those ancestors. Those who worship elemental powers and spirits will go to them. And so also my devotees will come to me. And now Krishna is speaking to Arjuna like a teacher, or to the student, or from the divine to the incarnate, right, to the human. And he's saying, don't get caught up in worshiping false representations of me. They are all the same. They're all leading to me anyways. And it's not only speaking that from a Hindu perspective. It's like from all different religious or even universal backgrounds. If you're worshiping the sun, if you're worshiping the universe, if you're worshiping nature, if you're worshiping Christ, if you're worshiping all the Buddha, all the major prophets or teachers, ultimately we're being instructed here that we are worshiping the same one universal power or God. And that is valuable so that we perhaps don't get caught up saying, not this way, it's this way, and telling others, right, there's a better way or what have you. It's just to make sure that we're taking the most direct approach possible. And it states clearly here that if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, meditating upon me with an undistracted mind, that is the only way to understand this truth that follows. Because if we are for some reason attached to a certain way or a certain method, or if we have pain, or if we have judgment around saying, that's not for me, we'll get caught up in saying that we don't know the truth, or you don't know the truth, pointing the finger, what have you. The ultimate instruction comes first, meditate upon me. That way we don't get caught up in trying to describe the best method or say that somebody is off course because they don't have the right method either to union. These books are talking about uniting oneself with spirit, and there is infinite ways to go about it. But ultimately, this instruction will hold true no matter what path one might be on. And this is so important for non-judgment. So we're not judging each other saying, you're on the wrong path, but meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, and thus you will know this truth. There will be no need for any kind of discontentment or argument regarding one's path. That instruction also makes all of this accessible to any class or caste of people in these time periods where these books were written. There's the caste system in India put people into very structured, organized classes of, I call them demographics, right? The demographics were separate, but nonetheless, these instructions of meditate upon me with an undistracted mind is available to any class. It doesn't make this this practice or this union or yoga, it doesn't make yoga exclusive to only the Brahmin priests, right? There is no barrier. Like, we don't have to go through a medium. We don't have to rely on a teacher per se. Now, it is helpful to have a teacher, a true teacher, but we don't have to rely on some institution or some type of priest to get us there. All we have to do is practice devoting ourselves, meditating with an undistracted mind on our method, our custom, unique method of attaining this connection. How awesome and free that must feel if for some reason we felt like we had to do things a certain way. Now, a more devotional text, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thou art the boundless ocean of bliss. As the formless ocean is affected by intense cold and molded into various shapes, so dost thou, through the intense love of thy worshippers, assume countless names and innumerable forms to gladden their hearts. Vouchsafe unto me that love out of thine infinity mercy. Goodness is my form, japam is my body, prayers are my limbs, tapas is my heart, virtue is my mind, sainthood is my vital energy. I am existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute. It's amazing how Krishna, in this case, Krishna being the form of the divine, can speak of himself in the first person. I am blank. Right? My mind just giving different qualities or just painting a picture. These texts ultimately are just painting a picture that our human minds can use to build a relationship, to build a personal connection. Again, in innumerable forms, these things will appear to us. If we begin to meditate with an undistracted mind, these things will appear to us, and to use them to hopefully create an image or vision or feeling viscerally, right, on the inside of a personal connection with a higher force or higher being. And like we read in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, not getting caught up, getting lost in the celestial pleasures, because maybe these pictures that we begin to experience in the depths of our meditation, they become attractive to us. This is one stage of development where one might be experiencing these images or these celestial beings, these entities, sharing with them, and to realize, yes, these are extremely valuable. These astral beings, these teachers, if you will, these teachers who are coming to share a message with us, are extremely valuable, but also not to get caught up thinking that you've reached the pinnacle and saying that, oh, I am now fully enlightened or fully realized because I've made a few friends in my meditation practice. Ultimately, they're just leading us. They're just carrying us along. They're guiding us towards that, and not to sell ourselves short for some reason believing that we've reached some kind of wholeness just based on coming across these celestial bodies or celestial beings, moving beyond the astral plane of reality or astral plane of consciousness into the causal, the ultimate plane of consciousness. We have our physical, the astral, and causal, the three major planes of existence or conscious being. This is very pointed in saying that, yes, they will come in innumerable forms. And then he goes on to paint that picture of himself with all those different tapas as the body, or virtue as the heart, and so on and so forth. Those aren't, verbatim, but things that we can relate to. If we can relate to, we can build a relationship. So all these qualities of the ultimate exist in our world. That's why these texts they build somewhat of a bridge for us to understand and build that relationship with something that is unutterable, right? Formless. It is both. It has form and is formless. Is infinite in its power, or infinite in its size. We can't fully grasp with the intellect the wholeness or the fullness of the divine, and so these texts can help kind of build that bridge, so that once they come to the precipice of that other side, if you will, they can step off a little bit closer to the other side or the other shore, because of the bridge that these scriptures and ultimately the practice create. So this episode, if you will, or this session has been power packed with a couple of readings and just some general tossing around of some concepts and words. Feel free to go back, rewind, review, look stuff up. That's one of the biggest things too. If a word is mentioned that you've never heard or you don't know and it stands out to you, look it up, take notes. I'll close it out today with one more reading, and we'll call it a day. The imperishable is the real, as sparks innumerable fly upward from a blazing fire. So from the depths of the imperishable rise all things. To the depths of the imperishable they in turn descend. Self-luminous is that being, and formless. He dwells within all, and without all. He is unborn, pure, greater than the greatest, without breath, without mind. From him are born breath, mind, and the organs of sense, ether, air, fire, water, and the earth, and he binds all these together. Taking a few moments. A couple more breaths. For being here. Namaste.